Terrible weather today, but I tell you what, golden opportunity to show everybody how well our roofs work. Beautiful, look at that, every single time.
Make sure you don't get me in, Ad.
Don't worry mate, no one ever know. Hello everybody, hope you're well. Now I realise another week has gone past and I still haven't had a haircut, and I know that I'm beginning to look like Gary Oldman from Dracula. I am aware, but a trim is on the cards. Right then, this week will be completely dependent on whether or not the scaffolders come and take this scaffold down, because we really want to get this roof sorted. You can't really see it at the minute because of the way the camera's set up, and I don't want to film next door, so I'll change it around in a bit. But it's one of these things that it was all right on paper, now we've got to turn it into reality. This roof isn't just a roof, it's also a terrace, which means we need structure in it to put the glass balustrade on. There's also a fence that's got to go on it. With all that, we've got to maintain it as a cold roof, all the ventilation, that sort of thing. So there's a lot to it, and there's a fair bit we've got to do that isn't quite in the rule book, so to speak, in the textbook. So we will build it, and then we'll show you exactly what we're talking about. So we're going to crack on, get you on time lapse, get some music playing. We'll get it up and running, and then we'll have a chat about it.
We can talk about it as we go, can't we? Because again, it's like the one up there. Until we start showing you, it's hard to say what we're trying to say. So.
We've just spent an hour talking how best to do it for reasons that we'll go into right after this musical interlude. How about that? It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. Whilst Adam does the block work and the wall plate that you've just seen, Mick is just over there sorting the mix out, and just before that me and Michael did all the bolting in the triple and double beams. As you can just about see up there then, we'll just go in a little bit there, we put they are M12 100mm bolts up and down, getting shot there, all the way across that double. We've then gone across this one and done and backed it up on this one as well. Let me just come in a little bit for you. So that's all done up there. So they are a M12 coach screw, 100mm all across there. You could just about see while I was down here, Michael did the double up there. You probably can't see that, but that's what we've been doing. And my next job is this. I'm going to cut all these joists back to the inside of the inner blockwork, and then form a 9x2 riser then on that floor, to then, when we start to get this floor sorted, that full of concrete, we start insulating this floor, we can then start forming some kind of step. But for now, to make it a bit safer, I'll cut that back and I'll form something there, Tim, with some ply and bits of 9x2 and stuff we got there. You would have seen on the time lapse last week, if you saw that episode, we got the old pallets and just formed a bit of a barrier there for the stairwell. That timber in there is just a temporary one. That can come out now, in fairness. That was just there to carry some boards across when we were doing this block work. And I have just took the screw out, so I'm going to move it now. We just put a screw in the block work there. It can't push in. Yes, it could pull out, but the idea is you go against it and you can't fall down the hole. That's the idea. So I'll drop this back out the way. I've got 2 more sheets of chipboard because I misjudged that one. I need another 2 sheets, or a sheet and a half, to get that bit in there, which is then forms our full stairwell. And then once I've formed this step, like I've just mentioned, I'll chipboard all that, and that's it done. didn't put the time mats back on when I've chip cut this, so I cut all this. I've just used the same glue, chipboard flooring glue, this stuff. We've gone for this 30-minute stuff. It's quite good, foams up nicely and sticks well. And then use the Spax chipboard flooring screws as well to finish it off. That is now what will be our top step. That obviously needs modifying to suit wherever our steps might be. So let's just have a quick look. A bit of off-cut 9x2. This has got to come up a fair bit now, but you know, it could end up being anywhere. I don't really know. But that's going to be too tall, so we'll probably have to put 2 in. But the customer's very conscious of the fact that what he wants to do is maintain this from this reveal as much as possible for when he's walking down to his workplace at the bottom of the garden. He's got plenty thoroughfare to carry stuff backwards and forwards. So we're going to try and get these steps within this distance. So looking at that, if we have to do 2 steps, we're okay with a 9x2 sort of tread. So we're looking pretty good there. And what we'll probably do then, this end to finish it off nice, is put a bit of a bull nose or a bit of a, you know, a bit of a chamfered step on there to finish it off nice. Right then, let's go back over to Adam and see where we are, see whether it's ready for me to start putting some joists and things on. Adam has all finished then. What he's done as well, again, you'd have to get excused, like Adam's just said, where we're standing, the way we're filming this little bit, but the next door neighbour is right there and there's a window, we don't want to look in it. So he's put a bit of slate there as well to bring us level with the wall plate. So what we're going to do now is, as we've talked about, I'm going to put a piece of 8x2 that we've got from there, the timber now that's in the way of the steel, through and sit it onto this bit of slate that's been packed into there, and then noggin through then on top of this new wall plate, and then we'll build our structure, our parapet off that, won't we?
Yes, mate, yeah. Ultimately, there's no 2 ways about it. We're making this up as we go along.
But we haven't got a choice, have we? Because we've got to put, if it wasn't for the fact we didn't need the glass balustrade structure, we'd be okay, wouldn't we?
Yes, it'll just be a roof then.
This is the problem, because we've got to put a glass balustrade on this. It's obviously a wind load and people sitting and standing and leaning against it. We've got to make sure it doesn't fall over. But we can't just rely on a couple of blocks on top of this, the lintel, because there'd have been nothing there. Slightest bit of wind or load against it, it'd have just pulled the blocks off the top of the stone, that'd have been done. That'd have been lying on the patio below us, wouldn't they? Exactly, yeah.
If this was a roof, it'll be roofed over. That wouldn't be there. It would be roofed straight away over as normal, all fairly standard. But it isn't. It's also a deck, and as you've just said, it needs structure to go in there to take the balustrade, which has got to be built in level, not with the rake of the roof, which is why this is a separate structure to the roof. It's not just a case of boarding up to it and then putting the balustrade on, which is what we were originally going to do, until Rich said, hold on a minute, there's already a slope on this roof. So if you build straight onto that, the balustrade will be on the scunt as well, which
so if you've missed it a couple of episodes ago, the reason why we're saying about that and it's not going to be flat is because we use 9x2 to make sure the underside of this room and that room that's through there is all the same. However, this span didn't need 9x2 C24 at 400 centres. So what we decided to do was we cut the furring actually out of the joist itself. So that's why we've had to make up a new structure and form this, which we would have had to do anyway, but hence we can't just come off the last rafter with the noggins that you'll see us put in shortly. So should we just get on with it?
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it
because I'm interested to know what we're doing myself. So
that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Have you got any clue what we're doing, Michael?
You got any idea, Michael? No?
I wouldn't admit to the
No.
As you can see, we've got our 8x2 in place there now, which is level and not to the pitch of the deck. That's the rest of the roof is. You already noticed Adam has done his brickwork already, filled it full of insulation. And then what we're going to do, to get up to this level, it just so happens that 2 pieces of 11mm OSB on there, all the way across here, and then the 8x2 on top of there, flat, that I'll show you in a minute, works out really well with this. So we can then encapsulate all of it in a full piece of 15mm OSB. So all we're going to do now is just use some of this adhesive, put these on here, like that. I'll keep them off the back of the brickwork so they don't touch the back of the brickwork. And all we'll do then is I'll just do all these across here. These ones are just to catch that you'll see in a minute, the 8x2 on, obviously it goes to sort of here, and we're going to put a piece of 4x2 or something on the back of that as well. So what we'll do is we'll do that, make up some of the bits of offcuts we've got to utilise the timber like I spoke about before, because you're just wasting your timber else, and then we'll make up a full structure to then allow the customer to fix his glass balustrade down to, which is ultimately why we're doing this to this extreme, really. That's the only reason. So we'll get this fixed down, get this 8x2 on, and we'll have a look in a minute where we are. And if you haven't understood what I've just said, you'll be able to see it in a minute. Hopefully you can see what we mean now. We put 2 pieces of timbers in, and like I said, the 11mm packers, we're lovely and flush there. So that is now our structure to take this glass balustrade. So we're thinking it's going to come in the centre of this, so about 220mm from the face of brickwork to centre will be the balustrade fixing points. This is all tied in together now. We put the 4x2 on the back again as when we put the OSB across here just to carry. We're not too fussed about these gaps because again that's doing nothing. What we will do, however, because we filled that with insulation, we'll fill all these gaps now with foam once we crack the foam open. Probably when we put foam this on the top of here to make sure that's nice and sealed as well. We'll fill it full of foam right down to where we put all the rock wool. Overhang this then, and this can be cut off later. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this scaffold comes down tomorrow and we can start to see this going in as well. OSB, tongue and groove, the 8 by 2 stuff has been ordered for this. This can all get glued down and we're going to have another roof done, albeit a cold roof. As you would have seen on the time lapse, we've just done a little bit of prep work for when we start removing this garage ceiling that will then become the new utility. Let me just spin you around and show you what we're doing in here. This is what you've seen. We took the block work out of there, we've moved all of this stuff, and what we've done now is we've created ourselves in here a little bit of an area so we can still maintain our day-to-day. So important, got our brew area set up ready with the power there. To charge batteries and things, and we've got all of our fixings and the like all set up, stuff hung up over there, and this is obviously, as you know, it's protecting the stairwell. So what we'll do now is we'll have a quick look up here, we'll show you what we're doing next. Here we are then, up on the roof. It's the sun, it makes me happy. What we're doing is there's 2 levels of roof already here, so what we are possibly going to do is we're going to change the new roof, which is going higher. We're going to run the flat roof rafters this way, and then we can put diminishing battens then across here to go to over that point. So what we're doing now is we obviously want to make sure we get all this up, all this bit of stone, all this moss, so at least when we do start to remove it, it makes it easier for us and we're not getting all bits in our faces from underneath. We're just taking all this ivy off because it's currently sat on this roof. We've had a quick chat with the customers and the next door neighbours. They want this gone anyway, so that's good. So that's what we're going to do. Again, prep work for when we do want to remove it, because we're going to have to build off that external block work up this way to put our new roof on. You're now looking at progress. Near the end of the day now. This is all gone, all nice and tidy. Give it a good sweep off. There's obviously still bits of stone on here, but it's good enough. So we know now that we are ready to go when this is ready to come off. You may have noticed as I walk past, a bit of a temporary spout. Apparently over the weekend that was working so well, all the water was coming onto here and then splashing backwards into there, so we came in on Monday and put that spout on there. And on better news, scaffolders have been, put some boards on here for us, put some handrails back up for now, just so we can use this temporarily as a bit of a walkway to here. And this roof is ready, other than joist hangers on certain ones that were missing because we got the standards off the scaffold in there. All the noggins are finished. We've cut those down to make sure we get a good clear 50mm air void between each rafter, and then don't forget we've got to put our abutment ventilation there as well. This one you can see here is for the on the wall end, which we shall do. We put some noggins through here as well to block that off, and also because there was a couple of these are quite twisted because they've been left in the damp and then the sun's got quite hot, he's twisted them, so we've had to brace those in as well. So like I've just said, other than the two joist hangers there, and I put this one onto that wall over there, this roof is ready for the OSB tongue and groove boards we're going to put on there tomorrow. We'll glue and fix those down, and then we can start doing some more fiberglass. Put the plywood on there. It's not fixed down yet because we've got a foam in between the timbers. We haven't got any foam at the moment other than the bondage stuff, which is more of an adhesive. And we're going to put, I've just cut some 25mm by 45mm timber. We're going to screw and glue onto the end of this OSB to form a bit of a drip. It doesn't do anything other than exactly what I've just said. It forms a drip which will glue the fiberglass and everything to it. So it's just a bit of a bump out really for when we render this. We've done a few jobs, including moving all of this lot today out of the garage and what was the old utility. It's just a job that needed doing, and what it means now is we can progress through the rest of the job without touching any of this in here again. That should stay where it is. It's a bit more organised because we've got a little bit more room to spread out. We've got our fixings in a certain place, all our PPE in a certain place, etc. So that should assist in our day-to-day working, shall we say. We've got the scaffold down, we can get that roof done, that's excellent. We can now get the materials ordered. I've done a measure for that roof as well, the one we've just been onto, to where we got rid of all the ivy. That's another job we can do, and hopefully we can progress through this week, albeit the sunshine that's currently on my face, I don't think is going to be here tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, if you believe what the weather says. But who knows, we'll wake up in the morning and we'll have a look, and then we'll go from there, I think. Straight back at it this morning. Got plenty to do, and hopefully the weather's okay for us. After the forecast yesterday of potential rain all day, it started off quite bright and sunny. So let's have a look what we're going to try and crack on with and see if we can achieve something today. So our first job ultimately was to take all this plywood off that we put on. And what Michael's doing now is now going to put all this back, because what we've done, we put this plywood on top of that ledge and pushed it up, and we couldn't have that in the way because, as you can see, that final flat roof rafter there now sits tight to the wall, and of course we can't get the plot at the back of it, so we're having to do a bit of restructuring, aren't we, Michael?
Temporarily.
Temporary restructuring, just again things we have to do.
Back to there, to take it off later, just so I can use this storeroom.
Yeah, that's it, because this is their storeroom, their little workshop type thing, so we need to keep it available for them to use. So like we just said, we've took this off for now, and we're just restructuring to make it weather tight again, temporarily, albeit in a day. The roof will be on, won't it? So there we are then. So we're going to be decking this today. So let's have a look up there. Adam's just dropped off the chipboard for us, and he's gone to fetch the final parts required to do this roof. Matt's just been tidying up, getting everything ready. We've got these boards on, as I said. We're now going to start decking this. We are allowing 25mm off this wall. We'll go into the reasons why later on. I'll get Adam to explain that one to you, because it's all with regards abutment ventilation, and then we're going to look at the way we're going to have to fiberglass it in after. Let's just crack on with it, shall we, Matt? Matt, I'm having a problem this morning, right? I'm very mixed up with my M's this morning. I've called Matt Michael, I've called Michael Mark. I'm marking it been on the channel for about a month, 12 months. Anyway, let's crack on with it. I know, yeah.
Right, well, as you've just seen from that time lapse, we've got all this deck down now. Well, Rich, Matt and these gentlemen have.
Done.
How are we? Beautiful, primed and ready to start fiberglassing. I'm just going to quickly talk you through what's been done. As you said, you've seen the time lapse of this going down, and this is the structure that we've come up with to take the balustrade. This is what we were talking about earlier when we said it's easy to show than it is to actually talk you through it. Basically, we've got glass balustrade to come off this, and it sits in a channel, so it's completely frameless. So that channel has got to be secured down, as you can imagine, rather well. Add to that, we don't want to screw it through the roof covering, because obviously that's a weak point and we don't want it to leak. Add on to that, this roof slopes down this way, as you can see now. You can see it there, can't you? So if we just put it straight onto this roof covering, then obviously the balustrade will follow it and it'll look absolutely horrendous. So Rich has built this kind of sort of almost like a fake parapet, basically. It's all fully insulated and there's structure in with it. And then we're going to add to that as per the recommendations of the manufacturer, who is coming out today apparently to show us what to do in terms of that. So bear with us, we'll talk more about that towards the later on in the episode. Now then, quickly talk to you about this being a cold roof. If you remember, if you watched last week's episode, that is a warm roof. This is a cold roof. Differences are that has got to be an airtight, fully insulated drum. This thing needs to be ventilated like a windsock. All insulation goes within the rafters, and we need a channel of air consistently throughout every single bay of the rafters as they come. Now I'll show you some footage on screen now before this fascia and guttering went on of what Rich and well, the lads, we shall call them, have done. They've lowered down the noggins in all the rafters in every single bay, and then as you can see from this footage now, we've got a clear air gap going from this fascia, which is vented soffit, all the way across up to what we've built here, which is our, what's it called, Rich?
Called abutment ventilation.
There you go.
Words out then. Abutment ventilation is honest with it, that's what it is.
Right, now you can get these off the shelf, but from what I've heard, they're a bit flimsy. And you've got to remember that this is going to be walked on, this is a terraced area, so if it's up on the roof, if it's up on that roof for argument's sake, as soon as it's done, you walk away from it, no one's ever going to go up there, then maybe okay. But we've got to bear in mind, this might be trod on and kicked and whatnot over time, so when I heard they're a bit flimsy, and for 30 quid each as well, we went, no top, so we made our own. So what we've done is we've got 25mm batten in line with every rafter going across, so that isn't compromised. And then obviously fix some OSB, you can see there. And then that then is the outlet for air, if you like, from the fascia, and the air can circulate all the way across and all the way out of here. And I'll put some footage on screen now of what it's looking like downstairs, looking up. And as you can see, it's well, as John Lennon once said, above us only sky. Now then, that's ace. From ventilation point of view, that's brilliant. But that ain't watertight, is it? So what we're going to do is, and Richard is going to demonstrate, there he is, poised. We're going to put on top of here, pass us up please mate, that to cap it off. These are above fascia vents.
Over fascia vents.
Over fascia vents. Yep. Over fascia vents, I should say. That's going to go there like that, and that's going to cap it off, and that's going to stop any insects and whatnot. So that's ace. However, as you can see, not waterproof. But where our saving grace is here is that this is being clad, and from what we can tell from the manufacturer's specifications, it's got to be double battened or counter battened. So we've got
for airflow at the back of your cladding as well. So you need that. So that's got to go on first, then that, and then the cladding goes on there because you'd have an airflow at the back of your cladding.
Yeah. So we've got 50mm standoff from the front of that batten to the wall as it stands, and then for what we've been led to believe, to fix these the cladding onto this, there's a clip, and that's another 10mm, a further 10mm standoff from that to the back of the cladding. So if we were then to come down with our cladding down about down to about there, I reckon we'll be happy with that. Then being waterproof. Now if that changes or the customer changes their mind on the cladding, we'll have to build some kind of give it a roof basically, be it in lead, or we can fiberglass it in, or we can do something, but that's what we're hoping is going to be for now. So we are now ready to start fiberglassing, so we'll put you on a bit more music and then we'll get this done, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the fiberglassing at the end. Just to show you now, because you won't be able to see it after, we've rebaited that drip trim down so there's no lip, so that does not lip onto that, so no water can pour on that once that's in. Can't really film that because we don't want to point the camera in next door's direction, but we'll be doing all this again on the third and final roof of the job over the garage, so we'll go into that a bit more detail in a separate video. And then these trims, these fillet trims, if you want to fix these onto the wall, just place them onto the wall, mark a line, put a little bit of adhesive just to be inside the line, top and bottom, and then nail them down. These are 20mm angular ring shank nails. And just go for gold and just put as many in as you possibly need to, possibly can. And away you go, and then we're good then. And we'll start fiberglassing, start the music up, and then we'll go from there. Beautiful. There we go. Then we can see the joins going from left to right, because we've put another layer on, 90 degrees to the ones that you saw going from front to back. We didn't film it because it's the equivalent of painting a white wall white. You won't be able to see anything. But it's there, so it's had 2 layers now. The corners have been lapped around. I mean, some of the corners have probably had 5 or 6 when you count them all up once they start going around each other and whatnot. So we are as watertight as we need to be for the time being. It's not 100% finished because we haven't got those finished that bit off yet. That won't be 100% finished or waterproof until the cladding goes on, but we can work around that. That's fine. Once these doors are in, we can put the flashing trims in either side of the door and finish all that off. But below this now is waterproof, and we can carry on. We can first fix it, opens all that back up to us now, so we can kick on with the next phase. So what we're going to do now then, in the video, it's tomorrow for us. Give it one top coat, just to give it another protection of the rain, which is just about to do by the feel of it, so couldn't time that any better. And it gives it its UV protection as well. But it won't be the final coat because this is a terrace, so I'm going to be sprinkling down, what's it called? I'll put it on screen. I'll put it on screen now. So when we're finished, when we've finished working off it, windows have got to be fitted, that's got to be clad. When we're on out, the balustrade's got to be fitted. Once all that's done, when we're finally right, that's it, we're never going to walk on here again in terms of working, then we'll give it another top coat, sprinkle that stuff down, and it'll turn this then into one big sheet of sandpaper, basically. Nice and grippy, not so slippy. How's that? I should have that as a tagline, shouldn't I? So with that tomorrow, and then we're going to play around with this fence. Obviously, there's next door's garden. We've got to put a fence up here for privacy and whatever. We are using what the customer had here before, This was a decked area before, and they had a fence here, and I've kept it, and I want us to use it again. And this is what it is, in short. That gets bolted through, or up. Not quite sure how we're going to do it yet. And there's one that goes, but gets bolted to the house, and then there'll be a middle one, and then there'll be a third one. Those two ones will be freestanding, and then the fence post slips over that. Then the composite fence panels go in between that. I'm a bit nervous about it because yes, these things they exist. Obviously, this is an off-the-shelf thing. This is B&Q, I think, or I might be wrong. But it's all about the wind load, isn't it? Now, they're obviously designed to be down at garden level. Well, a garden fence has its protection from the houses and the other fences and all the trees sort of things. They never really, well, these won't. There are exceptions, obviously. Never really feel the full brunt of the wind. But this one will, because it's on a deck. I can't point that way because of the neighbours. So I'm a bit nervous about it. So I'm going to have a play around of it tomorrow. I think we're going to get it on, get it up, and then hopefully be filled with a bit more confidence of when they're up there. We've got to go straight into the deck. We can't build a platform like this because the water's got to run through it into the guttering, and we can't put structure under the deck because that will block off the airflow that we talked about earlier. So we're a bit scuppered. It is one of the moments, one of those times when it is what it is. We've got to use them, so we will, but we can pilot drill the holes, gunk the holes, gunk the back of that, seal around it, that then cap goes on, seal around that. That's the best that we can do. Waterproofing, I'm not that concerned about it. In a storm, if it ends up in next door's garden, that's what does concern me, but hopefully tomorrow we shall see. Right, well, I've got to do a voiceover for this bit because I forgot to turn my microphone on whilst I was recording, so apologies for that. So as you can see here on the deck, we have got the fence that we're working with, composites, slats, 150mm tall, I think they are, tongue and groove, and then the top trellising bit is a 300mm aluminium decorative trellis, basically. That's all that is, to make up a 6 foot tall panel. Now, we have got to erect this on the side of this deck with confidence that it is not going to blow over at the next big storm that comes, whether it's called Colin or Kathy or whatever. So what do we do? Well, it's a great question, and we're going to sort of work it out as we go along. Now, this one we have bolted onto the wall, stand off it a little bit, and then that panel then, that post, I beg your pardon, the screws straight into that. That's going nowhere. So there's only 2 posts that need to go into the deck. Now, we can't just go into the deck. We're not just going to just screw it down and that's that. No chance. We've got to think of something different. As I say, we need to be able to do this and then walk away with some confidence that it's actually going to hold up after the next slightest breeze that comes along. And it's got to go there. It can't go on the parapet because there's no messing around with these slats or the panels. Obviously, if it's a wooden fence, you can cut the panels down, you can do what you want. We can't do that. So it's got to go there next to that parapet from where the glass balustrade is going to go. And then the one on the wall is on the wall. There's nothing, that's where that is. And then the middle one has got to go in the middle of those 2. And there's not really a fat lot more to it other than that, other than finding a way to bolt it down to the deck, and it's going to stay there. And that is basically today's task. How do we do it? We've got a plan. We've come up with it. Richard's got into his stock of shims and washers and bolts and things, and we're going to put a plan into action, and there's only one way to find out whether it's going to work or not. Build it and see what happens. We're on this job long enough to rectify anything. Should it happen, over the next couple of months or so, we'll be okay. That the ceiling beneath it isn't going to be boarded for quite a while yet, so we're all right in that respect. We've just got to crack on. We're going to do it. We're going to give it a go. We're going to show you what we've done. Let us know in the comments if you think it's going to withstand the next storm. And then we'll go from there. Right then. For those of you who are eagle-eyed, you will note that there's 8 holes there. And only 4 on this base plate, foot, whatever you want to call it. We've made a bit of a boo-boo. I say boo-boo, really. We got unfortunate. Those are the original holes. Those 4 there. That one just skims the rafter. The rafter is there. And it made us very difficult, or it made it very difficult to actually get anything in, and how close it was to the wall as well. If this happened on the middle one, it wouldn't be so bad, but it was sod's law, it was this one. So if we just come over now, that little bit, re-drill those, we are now dead centre of that rafter. So we've got a beautiful fixing into that, and that pushes these 2 further into the bay between those 2 rafters. And we can use our plate method that we've come up with. So then, how do we now fill those holes? Well, this stuff is, as it says, fully waterproof. So we can gunk these holes up. They've been plugged underneath, so to speak. We'll gunk the 4 wrong holes up with this, let it all foam up, do its thing. It takes roughly, I'd say, I'm just guessing now, about 30 minutes. And then we can shave it off, and then I can re-fiberglass over the top of them, and that will be absolutely fine. Not ideal, obviously, but that is just the way it is. We've never done this before, so I mean, also we live and learn, but I don't quite know what we've learned from that, but there we have it. As long as we can rectify, we're okay. So we shall plod on. We'll get them fixings in now, get them in, get it all watertight again, work out where the middle one is, and hopefully we're a little bit more plain sailing. Right, down in the basement, I'll just show you the underside of this roof. My glamorous assistant helps us shine a light on things. That's what we've done. So we've drilled through. This post, which I'll show you in a second, is slap bang in the middle of the other 2, and we got lucky as to where it is in the bay. So we've got all the room in the world there to do what we had to do, and we've got those plates, as you can see, and then there's the square washers, and it is gunked. You'll see from this footage now there's loads and loads of CT1 down into the hole all the way around the plate, on the thread of the screw or the bolt, all through, locking nuts, and then gunked and gunked again up above, and then we can always resin around that at a later date. But it's just a good to keep this access now and just keep an eye on it and see what it all performs and whatnot. So that's really the best that we could do with that, with any, and also have confidence as to walk away and, you know, have a windy night, so to speak, and then come back and it's still going to be there. But hopefully that'll be it. And the byproduct of all that is, let's be honest, the most expensive 2 panels of fence you're ever likely to see. Every component of that has had to be cut and modified to fit. But I think you'd agree, it's rather nice, and it is extremely obvious as to why the customer wanted to keep it. The reason why everything's had to be cut, obviously we've had to do what we've done with the feet and get all them in, and then we've had to cut it to size, because it was, as I said earlier, it was bolted on the side before, so they were much longer. So get them all done, make sure they're all the right size, so it goes across throughout at the top nice and even. Then of course, by putting that one in the middle of these 2, that one had to go onto the wall, that one had to go there, for reasons why I've already gone into. So by the time that one's in the middle, they're not 6 foot anymore, so each one of these has got to be cut. The trellis, which is also metal, well I say also metal, that's composite, that's metal, that's had to be cut, and it's all just took its time. But I think we're where we needed to be by the end of the day, apart from the fact that it's raining, horrible weather, and we haven't done a top coat yet. But I've just heard that the plan for this might have changed, i.e. they might be having, what are they called, Rich? The tile?
I can't remember. They're like a tile that have got almost like a spacer on the bottom of it, so the water can still go underneath it, but it just means you can have some kind of, whether you can, I've actually seen them at IKEA, strange enough, It's like a cedar cross sort of cladded tiles, and you put them down, it allows the water to pass underneath still.
Beautiful. So if we're using that, or the customer's going to use that, then we won't put those
Filings aren't like a filing, aren't
slate
they?
filings.
Yeah.
We won't do that, because then that will just hold the moss more and whatever can grow under it. So we'll just top coat it and we'll leave it at that until or if the plan changes. Another reason why I can use that kind of decking stuff, because it's parapet now, which means there's room to do it. It's not going to look silly. You know, the edge of it won't be seen from down there, so it's all kind of worked out. Beautiful, beautiful. Right then, what we'll do now, we'll take you up onto the third roof of this job, and we'll have a quick chat about what next episode is going to entail. Right, I shall hand you over to our resident roof builder. Hello, Richard.
Hello.
He's going to talk you through what's going to be occurring next week. Over to you.
Beautiful.
Yes, the roof. The roof is working. It's saying that slow drip. They're quite common on this job, aren't they? But there we have it.
Look at that.
Oh no,
Is that the best bit of gut you've ever seen?
It's beautiful, isn't it?
You won't get any better than that on this job.
It's ace. Can't believe I've charged for that. Right. Take it away.
Right then. This underneath us is, you may have seen early on in the episode, is the utility. So we're going to take some of the garage, turn the old utility into a big utility and put a new wall in. Before we do that, we are going to make sure that we just turn around, because we've got neighbours turning up with children in the car and what have you, so we'll turn around this way. What we're going to do is, at the minute you can see, if you can't see, it's sloping on the screen from right to left or left to right. Am I looking at it and you looking at it? I don't know.
To the viewer, it is sloping down.
Opposite, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sloping down one side.
Yeah, that way. There's that.
So we're going to be picking this up, and roughly our underside is going to be about here. That's underside of the new ceiling. Because again, if you remember from previous footage, that we are going to be building up the floor below with 100mm PIR and then 50mm screed. So therefore we want to make sure we maintain the height in the room already with 150mm extra height. So we're going to come up to about here, just roughly level with the bottom of that lintel there, concrete lintel. We're going to build a almost like a ladder frame on top of the brickwork over there to make this flat. And then we're going to do, I did mention diminishing battens, but because of the length of this roof, I think the diminishing battens are going to be too much. We could end up with like a 70mm, 90mm rip that end. So we're going to do furring strips from the end this way, 400 centres again. And when the furring strip gets a bit thin and there's no support anymore, I can just put a bit of a 3x2 or 4x2 noggin underneath it independently, just in probably this last little section. So if that doesn't make sense, if you don't forget to like and subscribe, you'll see it next week. And if you are an avid follower, we thank you ever so much, and you will see what I'm talking about in next week's episode. Let's hope it's sunny, eh?
Why not? Good ask.
Look at this.
It's horrible at the minute. But
Dog toffee, that's what it is. Absolute
right,
dog toffee.
Should we say goodbye now then?
I think so.
Bye.
Try it a bit.